Welcome, everybody, to the MMA Mainstream Podcast. I am James, joined by my co-host, Kaelyn. Kaelyn, it's crazy this weekend. It's Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah.
And there's no fights.
I'm going to be so bored.
You can watch some old... Hey, you know what? Go throwback. Watch UFC 1.
I wouldn't mind that. I do that sometimes. I throw in some old UFC fights or like the best of whatever the chapters that they have there, and just watch all the rematches. Maybe some. I think the Ultimate Fighter came out the new season. I think at least one episode or a preview
already, because I've been hearing the press behind it. Volkanovski was talking some smack on Joe Rogan's podcast.
Did you listen to that? How good was that podcast?
I listened to most of it. I'm not all the way done with the episode.
Okay. It's good.
But I listened to that part and I was like, oh, you don't like Ortega? I like Ortega. Ortega's like cool.
I know it makes me okay. I wasn't excited about their season coming up, but after listening to Volkanovski, I think there might be something to look forward to there. So he got me a little more interested.
I think they're trying to hype something.
No, they are.
But, like I'm
it's
completely
working a little
down
bit for
that.
Me.
Oh yeah, same here. Yeah. I'm like, oh, that piques my interest. I want to see all these randos compete.
Yeah.
Man,
it's something to watch.
They've gone through so many seasons of the Ultimate Fighter that I'll be honest, I lost interest. I'm glad they brought it back. But
I lost interest when they
interest.
Yeah, I was super interested at first, and then I lost interest when they started. It's just when you accumulate so many, it's like, oh, what do we have here? And I think they did like a Brazilian version of it, and I couldn't watch it because it was always blacked out on my
really
whatever app it was on. Yeah,
I thought it would have been because it's all in Portuguese.
I mean, yeah, that wouldn't be as exciting either because I don't know what they're saying, but I still was interested. I wanted to watch it and I couldn't, and it was just always blacked out on my UFC Fight Pass app. So I don't know.
Well, this should be on ESPN Plus, I believe. So
yeah,
hopefully it shouldn't be an issue. And we had our fight picks. Yes. You destroyed it on Bellator. For a fight, for fights you didn't even watch.
I know.
You went perfect.
Oh, really?
5 for 5.
Oh, wow.
I should be ashamed of myself because I went for 5.
That's amazing. I like that.
You did well. You did well. Good job. But we'll go ahead and get into talking about Bellator right now. We had Darren Caldwell versus Leandro Higo. Higo won by decision, and Higo did all the work. Caldwell took him down, strong wrestling, took him down, but that's all he did. He really needed to establish some ground and pound in there to really help score points. But
so he just held him down, pretty much.
He literally just held him down. Like, okay, like I was waiting for a security guard to come out like it was at a club to like pull him off.
To break it up. Stand up, something.
Also a note though that Higo was actually, this is the second time, he actually had weighed in overweight.
Oh, how much?
Not by a lot, but still he did not make the bantamweight limit. So Caldwell did not do well, and that's how come Higo got the decision win.
Do you know if Bellator, I don't know if it's the same rules across the board for MMA, but when you miss weight, is it a percentage of your purse going to the other?
I believe that's universal.
Okay.
And then moving on, Valerie Loretta versus Hannah Guy. I took Loretta. I regret that decision.
Yeah.
After watching her performance, that's the only way I regret that decision.
Oh.
She's known as a Taekwondo striker and tried the spinning back fist and nothing. But I give major props to Hannah Guy. Hannah Guy went in there and fought her ass off.
Oh, wow.
She did amazing.
This sounds like I need to go back and watch these.
That fight, I think you would appreciate.
This is the perfect time to do it.
Winner.
Yeah.
It was amazing, though. There was at one point, Guy, they had a little bit of distance between each other, and the guy just ran up and like hugged her.
Oh.
Wasn't expecting that, and wasn't fast enough for Loretta to get a strike in, and hugged her and took her to the ground. Yeah, guy looked great on the ground, whereas Loretta had nothing for her. It was
she had a game plan clearly, and
a really effective game plan. And Loretta did not. She thought she would outstrike her, and she spent most of her time on the ground, so it didn't work out. So props to Hannah Guy. I'm curious to see what they do with her next, because she establishes she has a really great ground, but I'd really like to see her add striking to her repertoire to make her even more outstanding overall.
Yeah, that'd be definitely. I mean, you have to for MMA. You have to.
Very true, but she's also now 3-1, so she's still a young fighter.
Oh,
but to
definitely.
be on a stage like Bellator, she does need that evolution.
It sounds like she knows her qualities and knows when to use them. And I think maybe this was just her plan the whole time and just went out and did it, because that's, you take what you can get as far as fights go, and you just execute your strategy just to rack up those wins when you're new, so maybe that's kind of what's going on.
And no offense to Taekwondo practitioners out there, but when I saw Loretta come out and she was wearing a Taekwondo uniform, I thought, oh man, this ain't gonna go well.
Oh God!
Right.
Oh boy.
Yeah, Hannah Guy had all the answers. Yeah. Next on the card we have Jaleel Willis versus Macon Mendonça.
Oh, there you go.
Willis, let's see. Did I even take notes on that fight? I did not. Willis got the decision victory. They fought at welterweight. Sorry, folks. That's all I got for that. Now we go to Austin Vanderford versus Fabian Edwards.
Oh, yeah.
I expected more out of Edwards, but Vanderford's wrestling
still undefeated.
Was awesome. Now, okay, here's the thing, though. Vanderford used his wrestling really well and got the decision win, but Edwards threw an elbow that caught Vanderford from his. All right,
I saw that.
Edwards was on his back and he caught him with an elbow, and man,
very bloody.
He bled out. There should have been a blood bank there, being like, "Hey, can we get some of that?
Can I get some?"
They would have gotten enough. They could have helped some people.
Oh my gosh! I saw highlights. I'm like, what happened? I got to go back and see this. And it just reminded me. I'm like, yeah, that fight was bloody. I didn't see it, but man, that looked like some shit happened.
So was
it cut from an elbow?
It was from an elbow. Perfectly just placed elbow and just cut him open.
Always.
And then even during his post-fight interview, just standing there with the towel on his head because he was bleeding out everywhere.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So Vanderford got the decision win, and he got to take home his wife. So that's a double win for him. And he's
his record is clean.
He's undefeated, but he is also 5-0 in Bellator.
He's on a roll.
He is doing quite well for himself in Bellator.
I need to start paying attention to him.
Same here.
Yeah.
I need to stop paying attention to his wife, who will have
there you go.
later on in the show. But he's doing well. Do you think at 5-0 in Bellator that warrants a title shot?
Depends who he's and I don't know his as far as who he's fought already. I don't know what they're ranked. I guess that depends on that. But I mean, when you're on a winning streak like that, it's definitely worth talking about. I just don't know who he's fought and beaten in order to deserve that. But he's on a really good roll. I don't know.
Very true. I have to agree. I'm not sure where he's at in the rankings. I know Bellator has recently put out rankings, so I'm not sure where he is falling onto that.
We'll have to
but
check
at 5-0, he should be, making his way up those rankings.
That's a pretty. Oh yeah. That's weird. I want to know why he's not ranked before. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe he switched weights. I don't know. Do you think maybe? I need to pay more attention to this guy. I don't know if he was ever in a different weight class. Maybe that's why.
That very well could be, but I mean, 5-0 in Bellator and 11-0 overall.
Also, why would you change? Also, I'm just thinking, why would you change weight classes if you're on a winning streak?
Unless it's difficult for him to make weight, I can see that. But other than that, no idea.
We'll have to find out.
We'll definitely look into that. And the most exciting fight on the card was Chris Cyborg versus Leslie Smith 2.
Yep.
Now, Smith, I don't feel like she really had anything for Chris Cyborg. Chris Cyborg went out there and she did beat her by TKO, but with 10 seconds left in the fifth.
Oh my gosh, that is crazy.
Well, for 5 rounds, Cyborg just beat up on Leslie Smith.
Oh man. Well, I guess Leslie Smith got tougher than the first one, but
that she did. They did mention that as well. But it's also, let's be real, it's Chris Cyborg.
But yeah. I think Chris Cyborg finished her. I think it was round 1 in their first fight when it was in UFC. I could be thinking of someone else, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened. She just did what she does to everybody, but I guess this time it took a little bit longer. Props to Leslie Smith for taking a beating for 5 rounds. Man, I definitely expected Cyborg to win though. But she definitely would have won by decision anyways if she would have hung in there a little bit longer. Looks like, yeah.
If the referee wouldn't have stopped it and would have let it go for that 10 seconds, Cyborg would have just won by decision.
Oh boy. Well, they did her a favor though. They did Leslie Smith a favor by ending that.
And the fans a favor, because I think every fight on that main card went to decision.
True. Yeah.
So they did us a favor as well.
Down to the last 10 seconds.
So that was that. No Bellator this week because of Memorial Day weekend, but they should be coming back. I want to say, if not next week, then the week after.
Yeah.
We will see, and we will also do our fight picks.
I'm so disappointed this weekend. It's a long weekend. No fights. No Bellator. No UFC. Oh, boy.
Go back and watch classic fights.
This is the perfect
time to watch those throwback fights. We should do... I know who wins, but you know what? We should do picks for UFC 1.
Oh, my God. Let's do it. Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I'll have to find that fight card.
Yeah.
I'll have to find the participants.
Everything in the bank there.
I'm pretty sure I know who I'm going to pick. Are you ready? Royce Gracie.
I'm surprised.
Yeah? Are you going to pick a striker? Are you going to pick a Gerard Gourdeau? You even know who you might know who Royce Gracie is, but do you know who Gerard Gourdeau is?
No, I know like 3 guys that fought way back in the day at UFC 1.
Or, hey, you know who Ken Shamrock is. You can pick him.
Sure, yeah. Okay, I'll pick him.
All right, good. Bad news. He loses in the first round. Royce Gracie takes it off. There we go. Perfect. All the way right here. Number 1. Finally.
Yeah, does that make up for your losing streak this week? For last week's?
I almost want to tweet some of these fighters and be like, hey, man, you know you're letting me down, right?
You're letting me down.
They're like, who are you? I'd be like, that doesn't matter who I am.
You're making me look bad.
You're letting me down. Thanks. Appreciate it. All right. Now let's talk about current UFC as compared to past UFC.
Mm-hmm.
They had a fight night this past weekend, and all the fights went to decision except for one. And we will get there, but we will start at the bottom of the main card with Jack Hermansen versus Edmund Shabazzian.
Yeah.
Shabazzian.
That was a pretty interesting fight. I know it went to decision anyways,
really
but
was
pretty entertaining.
I completely agree. Hermansen surprised me. I guess I expected more of Shabazzian, but no,
I did too.
No, nothing.
I mean,
Hermansen used great wrestling and got the win.
Yeah, he knew what he knew what he needed to do at that time in order to secure his win. But when they first started out in round 1, they both had really clean striking. Both really sharp, but then Shabazzian had a few good counters in round 1. So it made it a little interesting, but then once Hermansen was taking him down and controlling him on the ground, and it's like, well, that's it. I think I know what's gonna happen here.
And that was it. that told that tale, that's for sure. With
Yeah.
Hermansen being ranked 7th and Shabazzian being ranked 10th, do you see Hermansen going up or just staying where he is? Because
That's interesting. That's a good question. When you have someone who's already ranked higher than you and beats you, I don't think he's gonna bump any spots. Maybe one, but if he's lucky, I don't think it works that way. I don't know if they even have a set of rules for how it
don't
works.
think it would either, because he didn't beat anybody ranked higher.
Yeah, I think he
feel
just
like he'll just
secured
stay
his
there.
spot for sure. I think this win definitely gives him rights to call out who he wants, and whoever that next fight is, obviously it's going to be someone ranked above him, and then he could definitely climb the ladder that way. Didn't hurt,
We'll
but
see what happens.
yeah.
And then we have Ricardo Hamos versus Bill Aggio.
What do you
And
think of that one?
Hamos had 8 takedowns.
Yeah.
He better have gotten the win. Like, damn.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's really all I could really say about that. Like, you have that many takedowns and you don't get the win, there's something seriously wrong. Or it could be like the Caldwell fight where you just take him down and just be like, okay.
Yeah.
Ricardo Hamos did exactly what he needed to do to get the victory.
Yeah, he did.
Unanimous decision.
But there was a little short period of time where Aggio had come back with some really good landing some good strikes. But it just went back to going back to the ground and being controlled that way.
Well, he did also have more total strikes, more significant strikes, but it just wasn't enough because Hamos just had his number in the way of takedown.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly how the judges score takedowns versus strikes or significant strikes.
Or control.
Yeah, definitely had control. Maybe he didn't have control for just a tiny bit.
That as of late, that control is a factor now in the way judges score.
Okay.
Which I think it should be.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah. Yeah, but that whole time I got a little excited when I saw Aggio come back with some good strikes, and then I'm like, oh, I think I know where this is going. Tough fight though. He came back hard. He fought hard though for being controlled like that the whole time. He did pull off some good strikes, which got a little bit more exciting, but
not enough.
Not enough.
He needed to put him away, and he did.
Yeah.
Now we have Felicia Spencer versus Norma Dumont.
What do you think of that one? Are you bored? That one bore you?
I was like, you know what? This is a perfect time for me to go use the restroom.
I bet it was. Yeah. So Felicia Spencer, she's really tough and she can fight. I think we were talking about this on the last show. She went 5 rounds of Cyborg, cut her up pretty good with some elbows. Very, very impressive. I just had a little more expectations out of her against this girl. I thought maybe she would have ran through this girl. So I was not unpleasantly surprised with this one with Felicia Spencer.
I think I was expecting more out of Spencer on the ground, and nothing really came into fruition. Norma did a good job striking, and when Felicia would try to get a hold of her, it didn't work out.
Yeah. But Dumont looked really good though. I just don't know what happened to Spencer. I mean, she was, I don't know. We all have bad days, I guess, but
very true.
I just was surprised. Seeing how she can fight against a bigger, stronger opponent, she can dominate more, but then this girl just kind of pieced her up. She had some really good combos. I remember Spencer she'd throw maybe 1-2 strikes at a time, but Dumont was throwing combos
out of her.
Yeah, Dumont had some really long combos, and they were landing every time, and it was really interesting to see her boxing. It was really, it's really good.
Completely agree. And we'll keep going up the card. This fight, I picked Vandera, thank goodness. But Tafa, man,
this fight was my favorite one on the card.
It was a good fight because they kept they stood up and just banged.
God, man, it's what I wanted to see, and I thought that's what's gonna happen, and it did happen. I thought I picked Tafa, but man, that fight was crazy and bloody. I don't know if you saw that cut. It didn't.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, when you wipe away the blood, the cut didn't end up being what you thought it was. But man, that
It was just in that right spot where just blood.
Yes. Man, that fight definitely made that fight card worth it to watch, I should say. Good fight. I thought that's, I expect that out of these two guys for sure, and it happened, so that's great. But man, that was exciting.
What got me was, I guess I was expecting, because you see the blood that was pouring out of Vandera's head.
Yeah.
I thought I would see, some more aggressiveness out of Tafa to finish the fight.
Well,
and that didn't happen.
Yeah, but Vandera landed some head kicks, though. Did you notice those?
Yeah.
Quite a few of those.
And he did have the overall total, more total strikes. But
yeah, and Vandera did get wobbled for a little bit, but then snapped out of it, came back.
I wouldn't say there was much in the way of ground, so there's no need to discuss that.
Yeah,
but
that was a good fight. That was great.
Vandera came out and he was wobbled. You're right. I do remember that. But
for a little while, came back though.
Tafa just to me wasn't aggressive enough.
I think
if he were to push harder, I think he could have gotten it.
I mean, we're not in there. Can't. Easier said than done.
You're right.
I mean, judging on his past fights, he does usually have those wild punches, and usually gets a knockout. But man, this one dragged out a little too long and got a little tired.
But you know what? I picked Vandera, so go me, go Vandera.
Wasn't expecting that.
Yeah,
but Vandera was very good that night. He looked very good. Good for him.
I was kind of hoping he would choke him out, but no, didn't happen.
I guess not.
Now, the only fight on this card to not go to decision, my pick, Carla Esparza.
Yeah.
Got the win.
Yeah. She went right in there for that takedown immediately.
Didn't waste any time. Her wrestling really showed through in this fight. That's all she did. Wrestling, ground and pound. Wrestling, ground and pound. That was all she
needed. Really good elbows on the ground. But also Jon Jones clearly needs some work on the ground. She definitely exposed her right away. She took her down, but she also just kind of laid there. She didn't really.
It didn't. I mean, she could have been trying to escape.
It didn't look like it.
It didn't seem like it.
What it looked like is that she didn't know how to, is what that looked like. Because I'm not a grappler, wrestler, or anything like that. But I did notice she didn't try to get out of it either. She kind of just laid there. Thought maybe she'd wait it out. I don't know. That's what it looked like, and it didn't. I could tell she was already. When she did move, it was the wrong way. If she was trying to defend or get out of that position, she kind of just laid there on her back. But also Carla Esparza is a wrestler, so can't judge.
That's very true. And now this is 5 straight wins for Carla Esparza.
That's impressive.
She's ranked number 4. What do you think? You think title shot? Do you think number 1 contender fight?
Yeah, you have to at this point. I don't think she's gonna win, unfortunately. That's just my prediction. But you got to give it to her, though.
Yeah, I would like to see her get a title fight. I would like to see her get just her next fight. I hope it's a
contender fight for sure.
Yeah, pretty much because she deserves it after beating number 3.
Yeah,
so she should be moving up.
When you think about all those girls that are in the top, I just don't see her, winning. I don't know. But you definitely need to give her that shot. She's the next in line for that. So definitely deserves it. I picked Jon Jones. I thought she was gonna piece her up on the feet, but I guess not.
Go Carla Esparza. Thanks.
Yeah. So what do you think about the rankings here? What do you think is going to happen to Jones? She was number 3.
I feel like because it's between 3 and 4, they'll switch spots.
I think so too. Yeah.
That seems like the most obvious idea of what they would do with the rankings.
Yeah. I would just wonder what's next for Jan, though. I wonder when she's going to fight next and who it's going to be.
First, she needs to recover from getting beat up.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Then, yeah, we'll see. She'll probably fight someone lower ranked.
You know, I think, I don't remember what I said last
maybe
week,
establish
but
a spot.
as far as girl fights goes, I'm like, it's probably not going to be a finish. And look what happened. There was a finish.
Go, Carla.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh, man. That was exciting. And one fight I was disappointed in because I thought it was going to be more exciting was Rob Font versus Cody Garbrandt. And
me too.
Garbrandt, man, no love. I had no love for him because
no love. There's no love for Cody. Love.
Okay, so he had COVID and it hit him really hard.
Dude, that was terrible.
I'm not going to make excuses for him, but I wonder if that had something to do with his performance because it affected him harder than other athletes.
It affected him harder than normal human beings that got COVID. He went through the ringer on that, and also not fighting for a while before that, and then going through that, and then getting back in there, not knowing what kind of condition you're in compared to as you were before you had COVID. I'm sure that was stressful. Also, I know COVID does have permanent scarring on people's lungs for the people who do get it pretty bad. I just hope it's something that will go away, that maybe, and not to take away anything from Rob Font because he did really good, but I just don't know if Cody's condition is something to worry about permanently. You know, he is an athlete, which is good news. So he does have a way better chance than a normal person who isn't that gets COVID to recover, but man, I guess maybe when you're a 135er and your thing is cardio and, you know, this happens, I don't know. I'd be super stressed out if I was him, just going through all those scenarios. I wonder if he's okay. Wonder if his lungs are okay. Wonder if that was even the issue. I think it definitely should have had something to do with it for sure. Not an excuse, but I think for sure it hinders him.
Now, it looked like Garbrandt did adjust his game plan because he's predominantly known as a striker, yet he went out there and used a lot more wrestling, which his Team Alpha Male is known for.
Yes.
So I wonder if that also had to do that he had stand-up cardio, but doesn't have wrestling cardio.
I think
so much motion in the takedown.
Yeah. I don't know if maybe he resorted to, I don't know if that was his game plan to do that, or if he resorted to that because he didn't want to stand up with Rob Font, or just what, or maybe he thought, man, I'm going to get tired on the feet. I don't want to get knocked out again, you know, because he's been knocked out, I think, a couple times before in the past. But I don't know. I think maybe he had a game plan there as far as the wrestling goes. But yeah, wrestling's hard. Maybe his condition has something to do with it. I don't know.
Could be. But props to Rob Font. I mean, he seemed to progressively turn it on as the fight went.
He did.
Cody looked good in the 5th, but just too little too late.
Oh, yeah.
And Rob was right there the entire time and went toe-to-toe with him. He looked great.
As he should have. I mean, he is good. Yeah.
Now, okay, with him being ranked 3rd, do you see him getting a title shot or a number 1 contenders fight?
Well, thinking about it, you know, I don't know. I have a feeling him and Petr Yan are going to have a fight. I don't know. I think I saw some drama stirring up there, but online, but that would be an interesting fight. I think he's going to get a contender fight rather than a title shot, unless they totally overlook Petr Yan because of that whole situation. I don't think they're going to. I think they want him back in there. I would, because that whole situation. I know he made threw an illegal shot, which is terrible.
More exciting fight.
Yeah,
it really is.
But also, I mean, that doesn't take away.
I feel like Petr Yan is the more exciting fight because of the rematch with
Yes, I want to see
Sterling.
that. Yes, I want to see that.
See, you want to see that. Now, if you have Rob Font versus Aljamain Sterling, okay.
You know what? I'm
We'll
not sold on
see.
Aljamain Sterling. I'm not sold on it. I don't like that he has the belt.
But Petr Yan, a lot of people are sold on because that dude can go.
He is still a monster. Just because he made an illegal shot doesn't mean he totally lost the fight. He got disqualified. You know what I mean? I think that rematch needs to happen immediately. I know that Sterling just had surgery, but I don't like that Sterling's just kind of walking around with the belt as if he beat him.
Like he did not. Like he really won that fight. He did win, but in a controversial fashion. Yeah, he's walking around like, "Hey, I'm hot stuff." It's like,
no, dude. Oh man, that is the. That bothers me.
Did you really?
Makes me not like him anymore. I did kind of like him, but I'm a really big Petr Yan fan. Go Russia. I'm just kidding. But man, that bothers me when someone just takes the belt. The belt, I think there should be a rule when it's a title fight. If someone gets disqualified from throwing an illegal move like that, the belt does not go to the person that received that illegal shot, because I think
now
it should just be vacated.
That I agree with. I completely agree with. You don't let the person who was fighting for the belt get it because they didn't earn it, and you don't let the person who was the belt holder retain it. Yes,
exactly. I think it's up for grabs. I think it should be up for grabs at that point, and then you can make your decision on whether you want to see Petr Yan come right back or make him wait for what he did or just what. But I know Sterling just had surgery, so it's going to be a while before he comes back. I would like to see Rob Font and Petr Yan fight. Why not? I think Petr Yan might probably win anyways, but I think maybe that's the right thing to do. If those two guys are ready to go and you want to make a fight, I think you should let them do that for sure, because who knows how long Aljamain's going to be out with that. He had neck surgery, so I don't know. He already has a really bad knockout on his record too. I don't know what kind of condition he's actually in, like health-wise, after all that. I don't know.
Now, it is the UFC, and so they are notorious for making interim champions. So,
oh, hell no. Oh, I hate that.
I do too. But
that's just as bad as giving the belt to someone who won by disqualification. Ugh.
It's basically like, hey, man, check this out. You won a belt. It's not the real belt. It's kind of a fake belt. But
just get rid of it. Why do you even need it?
This means we can fight later for the real belt.
I don't even know why there are two belts. Like,
it's almost like a rain check.
Then give them an actual check with money instead of the belt.
Oh, man. Come on now.
Yeah. Give them a really big check. Hey, why don't you? Yeah, I think this is a good idea. Give them a really big payday, for waiting, because the champion is either out for whatever reason it may be. A lot of times it's due to injury.
I like that idea, but what if they just gave them their regular money and just put it on a big check? Huh?
Okay.
Here you go. Here's a big check.
Yeah.
Like,
let's let everyone know what you get paid.
True that.
Knowing UFC, it's probably not a lot.
Can I get some kind of fight bonus on here?
Yeah.
Well, Dana White, let me get like $20, man. Come on.
$20. Give me my plane ticket to go home.
True that too. During that event, UFC fighter and commentator Paul Felder actually retired from the UFC. He just figured he didn't have it really. He knew he didn't really have it, and the motivation, and so
yeah, the motivation part for sure. If you don't have motivation, definitely don't get in there. It's just, I thought he had some more fight left in him because he was doing so good, and he's had a lot of adversity as far as like, I think he broke his arm like twice or something like that. Broke his arm, still won that fight. He is a savage. He takes a beating. He fights really good guys, and he still ends up, winning and being really impressive. I was a little surprised because I think he still could be really good. But I mean, if you're not in it, then definitely don't continue if you don't want to. I think he's enjoying being a commentator. He's pretty good at it.
He's good at it.
Yeah, just it's stressful being a fighter, especially if you're doing it for your job and want to get paid. You can't just take fights because you want to get paid. That's the wrong bad idea. You know, oh, I'll take that guy because I need a paycheck. Like, man,
He
I'm not.
went 17-6 in his MMA career, 9-6 in the UFC.
Well, yeah.
So congrats to him on retirement.
So now
I
people
want
can
to
stop calling him
retire
out while he's sitting behind the desk.
True that.
Yeah.
True that. Tom Owens just chimed in. Hello, guys. Hope you two are doing good. You know what, Tom? We can't complain, man. I can't wait to see you at the Underground Fight Series coming up that has been moved. We'll discuss that a little bit later at the end of the show. Hope you're doing well, Tom. And then keep talking about UFC. We just discussed Paul Felder. And now we're going to discuss everyone's favorite, the GOAT, Jon Jones. Jon Jones now has different representation when it comes to his MMA stuff. So he signed with former Golden Boy Promotion CEO Richard Schaefer, and now he is his advisor. I'm curious as to, is this a way for Jon Jones to hopefully get a cash grab? A way for him to make more money? I mean, you think that's the idea. Will Dana White work with him?
I hear so many things go back and forth between those two as far as, you know, show me the money and then I'll fight, or, you know, so confusing. But also, I'm kind of stupid here. I'm not a pro fighter. I don't know how management works exactly, especially when you're in UFC, such a big organization like that. I mean, Jon Jones is Jon Jones no matter what. I don't know if he took on this management to help him out, maybe get fights negotiated better, easier. Because in my eyes, Jon Jones is the GOAT. You can say whatever you want about him, but I think he is, and I think he can make whatever fights he wants. I don't know what the whole management part is about. Like I said, I'm not a pro fighter. I don't know. Maybe someone can let me know if anyone's listening. But yeah, I feel like Jon Jones could do whatever he wants without anyone's help. He's already in the UFC. He's obviously the GOAT. I don't know. Maybe he's just his negotiating practices are not in line with what's really available or realistic.
Well, I think you bring on a guy like this who has a wealth of experience to do that negotiating for you to get what you're worth, to get that top dollar. Because if he is, you know, Jon Jones, we all know he's one of the greatest of all time. Mm-hmm. Yet, let him focus on the fighting. That's why you bring in management to focus on the business end. You don't want your fighter to worry about the business aspect. You want your fighter to worry about the fights.
Yes. You also pay him a percentage also.
I completely understand that. I'm just curious to see how Jon Jones's management is going to work with Dana White and UFC.
Probably a lot better than what he's been doing
with Dana White, but with the UFC brass.
Yeah. So who knows what the real issue is there? I think Jon Jones overshot it by a lot by asking for like what, 30 million or something like that for his next fight. Maybe it was more.
Too much money.
Yeah, but I don't know what actual managers ask for. What's the standard? What's the, you know, where do you draw the line?
It's a percentage of what they earn.
But when you go to negotiate, like say with Dana White, and you're a manager for Jon Jones or whoever, where are you sticking to a more realistic line to where you ask for this amount because you think he might get it, or do you overshoot it because you know they're going to lowball you in the end? You know what I mean?
Very true. I'm not an expert at negotiating, but I do have a feeling you start really, really high, and then you see where they come in at, and then you kind of work in the middle.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're not there for negotiations, but man, would we like to be?
Yeah, I have a feeling Jon Jones asked for way too much, and he just doesn't know where to draw the line, what's realistic, and what Dana White's looking for. Because obviously Dana White said hell no, you know. So maybe a manager will help him out with that. It has more credibility, you know. So we'll see.
I hope so. This guy coming in is widely credible in the boxing community. I'm wondering what can happen with him working with Jon Jones, but we shall see and see what happens.
Probably better than nothing, I bet. Better than what it is right now.
Very true, which, Jon Jones needs a fight. That's all I got to say about that.
Everyone wants to see him come back and fight.
And then we have Diego Sanchez.
Yes.
Who has parted ways with his management, and Dana White has put it out there that, hey, Diego, call me. Like, let's talk. I'll answer.
After he kicked him out of the UFC?
After everything that happened with the crazy management situation, yes. So Dana White has extended a olive branch of sorts.
Yeah.
To Diego. Okay. And he's like, hey, let's chat. We'll see what happens.
So obviously the problem was his manager / whatever you want to call him. I don't even know his I'm gonna say his master, but I don't know.
That whole situation, we've discussed it before on the show, was weird.
Yes.
Really weird.
It seems like it's been going on for a while too. That is some weird stuff. That is some weird brainwashing stuff that seems like probably been there for a long time, and unfortunately we're just finding out about it. All the UFC fighters, their comments seem like, oh, we're so disappointed, so sad, it's unfortunate that kind of thing is going on. It's like, man, this guy sounds like, and I don't know the whole story as far as facts go, but from what I've seen, it sounds like this guy
is more like a cult leader than an
cult
actual
leader.
Fight coach.
Yes, that's exactly what it is. You take him in, you brainwash him, hang him from the ceiling like he's some kind of bat in a cave and start hitting him. Like, what in the
I've
world
watched
is going
plenty of cult shows. Pretty sure I could start one. Not going to, because that's a lot of effort. But that's what it when you saw the certain tendencies of things, the way they happened throughout the course of this whole situation, it seemed almost like a cult type situation. So I'm glad Diego cut ties.
Well, saying that anyone has that kind of power over someone it's just wrong. Something's wrong there, And then you got Diego, who's been getting hit in the head since forever. That's not good. I don't know how much of that plays in,
Hopefully it won't play in too much, but I have a feeling it is going to affect him later on.
Well, he's better off now. That's a good thing.
True.
Maybe he can come back for his last fight or whatever it is. I don't know what happens after you get fired from UFC. I don't know what happens to your old contract. I think he had one fight left. Was that it?
He did have a fight. They could bring him back for just a fight. It could just
That's what I'm saying. Like, give him his last fight.
So,
give him his last fight. Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked, but he has to reach out to Dana White. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see.
Now we're going to discuss a little bare knuckle fighting.
Yes.
Our favorite. And then you have Paige Vanzant, my favorite. Yay!
Yeah.
And she's going to fight recently signed Rachel Ostovich.
Yeah.
Now,
I am surprised.
Are you?
Yes.
Because I feel like this is the fight to make because they both have a lot of MMA experience.
Well, they fought each other. Already.
Very true. And now they're going to fight in bare knuckle fighting. So you wouldn't have Ostovich. You wouldn't have her fight Van Zandt. You would have her start with fighting some random person.
I was surprised. Well, I was surprised to see her sign with BKFC in the first place. I did not expect that. But now that it's happened, I mean, okay, cool. Yeah, her and Van Zant's a good matchup for sure. Even if they hadn't fought each other already in UFC or either of them were in UFC before, I think this definitely do it. I don't know how many girls are in bare knuckle fighting, but I don't think it's a lot. So you don't really have a lot to pick from. Those two girls definitely should fight. I don't know what would happen there. I feel like, but based off watching, their MMA fights, I'm going to assume there's not going to be a finish here. Probably just hating for no reason. Probably just hating for no reason, but we'll see. As far as each other's boxing goes, I don't know what they're like with just boxing. Paige Vanzant looked pretty good in her last BKFC fight, even though she lost. She surprised me. She didn't look too bad, and she didn't even get touched very bad either. Walked out of there pretty clean. But these two girls, I don't know which one of the two is grittier to take the win on this one. What do you think? You're like, I don't care. I'm just watching for the boobs or whatever.
I mean, no, I'm watching for the professionalism.
Like, no, I'm looking at their face.
The striking. Come on now. I'm curious. I'm curious as to see how now with Paige having more experience in it, how she's going to fare compared to Ostovich, who's going to just be making her first time in. So I wonder what's going to happen with that. Is Paige already has a certain advantage because she's already had the previous experience. Ostovich does not.
But not that much. Not that much.
True. Very true.
I think they're on the same level with this fight. I think they're on the same level. I think it'll probably be a close fight. I'd be surprised if someone knocks someone out. And if someone did, I don't know who it would be.
Yeah, that's why I hope it's good. I'm excited.
I really like Rachel Ostovich. I was sad when she got cut from UFC, but I guess when you realize her record and stuff, it's like, oh, okay, I get it. But or maybe it was a contract thing and they didn't want to bring her back.
Could be.
But yeah, I don't know. I think it'd be a good fight. I'll look forward to that.
Yeah, that happens July 23rd, and we will definitely be talking about it as it gets closer. And one of the last things in national news we're going to discuss is former Bellator announcer Jimmy Smith. We were discussing him earlier. We know who he is. We've heard him. Mm-hmm. Now he's signed with the WWE.
Interesting.
Okay, so my thoughts on this. I'm a WWE fan. I'm a wrestling fan. We've established this in previous episodes of the MMA Mainstream Podcast. I'll watch it. I want to hear what he has to say because I don't know how knowledgeable of pro wrestling he is. Whereas Mauro Ranallo, everybody loves because Mauro Ranallo started in pro wrestling. He knows his stuff. Mauro Ranallo is amazing. Jimmy Smith, on the other hand, I hope he's good at it because, man, I mean, no one's going to ever be Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler. That's who I grew up watching in the late 90s. Mm-hmm. No one's going to be that. But yet Jimmy Smith comes in with the experience of MMA, which I think they're looking for. I think they're looking for the experience of realism.
That's a little strange.
Why they want to bring him in. It is, but they also brought in Mauro Ranallo. But Mauro had the experience. Smith doesn't, yet I will watch it just to see how he does. And then from there, I'll go from there.
Yeah. So we all know he's good at, where he came from, his MMA commentating.
How he adapts doing pro wrestling.
I don't know. I don't even know what they do. I don't know what the procedure is for that kind of thing. Obviously, it's scripted.
They talk smack about each other. He's like, hey, I'm going to beat you fair and square, maybe with a chair.
Maybe with a chair. Yeah.
Hey, maybe put you through a table.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, leave me alone.
An ironing board, whatever they got over there.
Kitchen sink.
Yeah. I don't know. That is strange. And I just read that today. Super surprised. I don't know. But also, I don't know if that guy even had any other options. Or
True,
also,
he has been doing it for a minute.
Do you think the pay is extremely, just way better than an MMA commentator?
Well, okay. Unless you're working for the UFC or Bellator, which are the top two promotions in the country, WWE puts on a show every single week and then sometimes a pay-per-view. So,
whoa, hold on. There's pay-per-views?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I have so much to teach you about professional wrestling, and you don't want to know about it, but you're going to learn. Anyways,
they have a show
every week. And so with COVID, they didn't have live shows. They did have shows, but they didn't have live shows where they would go to arenas with fans and they weren't taped. So basically, depending on what show he's doing, I didn't really get too far into that. He will be doing one of the shows and maybe some of the other auxiliary shows that they have going. Mm-hmm. And that's it. So basically, he's working once a week unless they bring him in another capacity. So they're probably going to pay him pretty good to just be like, all right, just come here, do this for a couple hours, a day's work, and you're done.
Yeah, or maybe he's really good at it. Maybe that's his thing. Maybe he's catching
He's
a
like,
huge
I
break
love
doing
professional wrestling.
it. I know you do.
No. What if he's like that and we just don't know it?
But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Maybe it's his thing. Maybe it's always been his thing, and I don't know. I guess we'll see. But that's interesting. You know, we always, well, not always. We know Ronda Rousey went to WWE, and then I feel like since she did, you know, everyone has this idea that they want to go do that too. It's just I don't know. I mean, that's weird enough that she did that, but also a commentator position. That's pretty interesting. Pretty random. I would never would have guessed that that's where he would end up. I don't know.
Very true. Now, but you also look at Brock Lesnar. That's where he started. And he did pretty
Yes.
well in the UFC.
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
I mean, it's not like he's CM Punk.
Right. But see, yeah, he's definitely an athlete though, you know. Was a wrestler.
He
could do WWE and MMA. That's pretty crazy.
Brock Lesnar is the exception to the rule for everything because
he's the whole package. Yeah.
It really is. He did football. He didn't go far in football, but he's a great athlete.
He is. For such a big guy, he's a very yeah.
So I am curious to see. I will watch an episode just to hear Jimmy Smith and see what happens with him.
Yeah.
But I don't think this is going to last long because they've been doing a lot of cutting recently. So we'll see how long he stays around.
Huh. Maybe it's like a trial. We'll see.
I feel like it's more of a trial than anything yet. Like I said, we will wait and see. Yeah. Now, in local MMA news, I've been mentioning it at the end of our shows, and we are getting close to wrapping. 559 Fights is June 19th, the day before Father's Day. So I'm excited for that. I'm glad to have amateur MMA back. I look forward to seeing this fight card because they do a really good job. So I'm curious to see what's going to happen. They're going to be having it in Visalia at the ballpark there, which is perfect. Great ample space for everybody to enjoy some MMA fights. And then the following day, because things have been moved around, the Underground Fight Series is going to take place on June 20th, Father's Day. Yeah.
Interesting.
I look forward to it. It just sucks that it was moved. So it was going to be the first week in June. Now it's going to be on June 20th. But it is what it is. I hope everybody that's registered has extra few weeks of training to get under their belt for this. And if you haven't registered, you still have plenty of time. I was there as the first one. I loved it. You plan on attending the second one, hopefully. I know it's Father's Day. So, you know, that does change the game. But hopefully you can make it. So that way you could see and finally maybe learn something about grappling and how awesome it is.
That'd be kind of cool, huh?
Exactly. Because grappling's fun. I appreciate all combat sports. I'm not good at any of them. I've tried them, but I appreciate them.
Mm-hmm.
So we definitely look forward to that. Kaelyn, do you got anything else to add for this week's episode of the MMA Mainstream Podcast?
No, I don't. Just besides the fact that I'm pretty bummed out that there's no fights coming this weekend.
Well, if Jimmy Smith was doing wrestling this weekend, I would tell you to watch that so we could see what happens. But he's not. Oh, well. Watch a throwback fight.
Catch up on some old fights.
Watch the throwback fight, and I expect to hear you talk about it next week.
I'll report back.
All right? Cool. You're also Randy Couture fought Tito Ortiz. Haven't heard of him. No.
God.
All right, folks. You guys all have a good Memorial Day weekend, and we will see you next time on the MMA Mainstream Podcast.
Mm-hmm.